As a small town, Mount Vernon delivers the quiet you'd expect, along with unexpected pleasures. This is the last town you'll experience before the Ohio River turns and leaves the banks of Indiana. While many Ohio River towns were devastated by the great 1937 flood, it didn't do much to Mount Vernon, as most of the buildings were on higher ground. Riverbend Park has an amphitheater for concerts. And also, gigantic, graceful swings that line the waterfront. It's a place to pass the time away, as if time really doesn't matter. The first settler was Andrew McFadden in 1806, and the area was thereafter called McFadden's Bluff. In 1816, it was renamed Mount Vernon. A soldier that served under George Washington during the Revolutionary War thought it should be called Mount Vernon to honor the great general. Calling it Mount Vernon after George Washington's grand home seemed like a great idea. And here's a fun fact. Mount Vernon is part of Posey County, which was named after the Indiana Territory Governor Thomas Posey. Thomas was born and actually grew up next to George Washington's actual Mount Vernon plantation. During his lifetime, many speculated that Thomas was George Washington's son, as he lived next door and spent time with him often. But that was just an ugly rumor. I don't see a resemblance. Do you? The courthouse was completed in 1876, 100 years after the signing of our country's Declaration of Independence. Its beautiful design is a combination of Second Empire and Italian architecture. On the east side of the courthouse, looking toward the setting sun, is the Posey County Soldiers and Sailors Monument, built in 1908. Civil War soldiers hold constant vigil. While liberty stands, defiant to time. This grand structure, built in 1926, was the first building in Indiana to honor World War I veterans. It now serves as a second courthouse. It was built with a large coliseum inside and has hosted countless events. Our nation's icon of freedom perches above the building and screeches patriotism for time immemorial. The streets are lined with days and memories gone by, but with new businesses filling the gaps as time passes. It has that Indiana small town charm, but not everything here is small. The ports of Indiana host the largest port for coal barges in the entire United States. It's also the largest public port operated by the state of Indiana. And using the river as a superhighway for big industry is still big business here. Mount Vernon is also known for ethanol production and refining about 20,000 barrels of oil per day from local Indiana oil fields. As we leave downtown Mount Vernon, we head to the outskirts of what can be described as near otherworldly in comparison. Some may call it a piece of heaven. Hovey Lake was named after Civil War General and Indiana Governor Alvin Hovey, who was born at Mount Vernon. It's an incredibly beautiful place, where cypress trees fill the water as if transplanted from Florida. Hovey Lake is very popular with kayakers. Very often, the evening sky is like a surreal pinkish-purple painting. It's a perfect place to set up a chair and watch the sun set upon the water. Further west, and north on Raven Road, is a place that also doesn't seem to belong in Indiana. The Twin Swamps Nature Preserve is the only place in Indiana where bald cypress can be found. While there are many nice boardwalks, do bring waterproof boots. Many parts of the trail do not have a boardwalk and are very, very muddy. But believe me, the effort to get there is totally worth it. It was more beautiful than I ever imagined. Finally, at the farthest point south on Raven Road, we come to the end of our Ohio River journey. It's one of the most quiet places in all of southern Indiana, a desolate parking lot in front of the John T. Myers Lock and Dam. I've only seen 2 people here in all the times I've visited. Modern restrooms in the middle of nowhere are certainly a welcome sight. Stairs lead up to an observation area. It's also handicap accessible if you take a right on the road just prior to the large parking lot. And there it is. Looking out, you see the Ohio River as it leaves Indiana. It heads to Cairo, Illinois, and then on to the Mississippi River and the Gulf of Mexico. It's where Lewis and Clark floated along with their core of discovery, finding new worlds that would someday be the western United States. This is where a 17-year-old Abe Lincoln and his friend Allen Gentry turned their flatboat south on the way to New Orleans in 1826. From here they braved the Mississippi River, sold goods, survived, and saw the ugliness of slavery. Abraham left as a boy and came back a changed man. And if you travel along Indiana's section of the Ohio River, from beginning to end, from Lawrenceburg to Mount Vernon, immersing yourself in the history, small towns, and stories, it will certainly change you as well. I know it has me. Many blessings to you in your travels.